Well, now we turn our attention to this matter, which has gone out some time ago. It still is out there, actually. The call for referendum by the NBA president, okay, while he did make that statement, but there's been lots of reactions trading that comment of his, even though the amendment still will go on, as the National Assembly put it. Well, now we're joined by Mr. Kunle Fadipe, who is a legal practitioner. Thank you for coming on this morning.
Thank you very much. It's nice to be here again.
Well, some members of the National Assembly, including lawyers, think that it's kind of a little surprising that the NBA president will suggest such, because they think that's extrajudicial. It's not in the laws. And so why would the NBA, being knowledgeable about what the law provides, ask for something that is more or less not required in our laws?
Yeah. My reaction would be that the NBA that suggested that the process of the amendment should also factor in what you call referendum is right. The National Assembly that is also contending that you don't need a referendum is also right.
Well,
if you look at the provision of Section 9 of the 1999 Constitution as amended, it says that if you want to amend the Constitution, you need just the two-thirds majority of the two houses, that is the Senate and the House of Reps, and the two-thirds of the houses of assembly of the states. There is nothing like referendum there. But the Constitution, if you know what the Constitution is, it is a fundamental law. It is called the organic law, the Fon Air Origo, you know, the basic law from which every other law derives its legitimacy, where government institutions, powers of government, you know, are sufficiently described. So such a law needs widest consultation, what we call the principle of maximum consensus. Why is it that we have been having problems with the 1999 Constitution? Even those who are not lawyers, what they say about it is that in its preamble, it says, we, the people of Nigeria. And Nigerians are saying that at what point did we come together to enact this Constitution? So, for the new Constitution, the one that is undergoing amendment, for that amendment to be acceptable to the majority of Nigerians, then the NBA now says, let there be referendum, and that the process of referendum will make Nigerians to even vote about key elements of the amendment. Because when did we start the 1999 Constitution? The 1999 Constitution came about just about how many years now? That's about
13 years ago.
13 years ago. So we have only had the opportunity of operating the 1999 Constitution for 13 years. And it was amended. Don't forget, they amended it last year also. So the question again is that, why do we want to amend again? Why? What is the motive behind the amendment?
Sorry, I don't mean to interrupt you, but I think that the National Assembly, we had a representative, the Senate spokesperson here, and he said that they saw absolutely nothing wrong with having a referendum. But that where do they place that in law? Where do they put that in the Constitution?
Now, there's what is called political expediency, apart from what the law may say. If the law does not frown at it, the Constitution does not say you cannot do referendum. The Constitution does not have anything about referendum. So, in order to make it broadly acceptable, so that the argument that it is not reflective of the wishes of Nigerians, referendum will have addressed it.
Yeah, but did
it
say we can do it?
He said?
Did the Constitution say we can do it?
No, the Constitution does not say we should do it. And it does not say we cannot do it. It only says if you want to amend the Constitution, this is what we should do.
Yes.
Now the NBA is now saying that apart from what that Constitution has said, the Constitution that we have all said that it is not reflective of the wishes of the totality of Nigerians. Yeah. Now you can go a step further. Okay, look at the doctrine of necessity that the National Assembly came up with when we had the crisis of Yaradua, transition from Yaradua to his vice president at that time, the present president. It is not in the constitution that you should use a doctrine of necessity, but the exigency of that time, made it imperative.
Yeah, but we're told here last week that that problem was not a problem caused by the Constitution. It was caused by the operators, because it was clearly spelled out there how the transition should happen. But when it was not being done by the operators, they had to come in.
Yes. So it is the same. You see, now the question you have is that the Constitution does not say it should be by referendum. The Constitution also has stated how amendment should be done, in the same way that the Constitution made provision as to how the vice president will assume office. But the doctrine of necessity came about as a result of the political, kind of political engineering, brought about by the National Assembly. So if the NBA now says
but that was predicated upon certain clauses in the Constitution.
What are the clauses?
Because it talks about who should take over, how the transition should happen. And so when that was not being done, the National Assembly had to come and say, well, by all means, there's nothing wrong.
So we heard them saying things like the phone call that was made
could qualify
as that.
But in this case, it's like putting something on nothing.
No, it won't amount to putting something on nothing.
What would it be?
You see, what the Constitution expects is that, even if you are going to do your consensus would not preclude you from meeting the constitutional provision as to how to amend the Constitution,
which is the public hearing.
Which is that 2/3 of the states of the Federation, 2/3 of the National Assembly. You have to do that. If you now go extra mile, you will not have transgressed on the Constitution. You will not have violated the provision of the Constitution.
Extra mile.
Yes.
Why do we need to vote? Because I heard some people have said that, is it that we don't trust the National Assembly? After all, if the National Assembly has so much power to be able to change the Constitution, because they are thought to represent the people. They are to, both at the state level and both at the federal level. These are representatives of the people. So is it that the people don't trust them enough? Or they just want to have a feel? Which one of them?
As I said, this will take us back again to the role the Constitution plays in the life of a nation, the life of the people. Constitution is an important repository of people's histories, the values, the norms, their dream. And to that extent, the principle of inclusivity, meaning that as many people as could be involved in the process of its making. If, I don't know, what is the problem that we have getting Nigerians, involved? What is the problem? What exactly is the problem that the National Assembly has with having a referendum?
The National Assembly has said it has absolutely no problems involving Nigeria. So that's the reason why it's going around from state to state, and they're hoping to hold as many public hearings.
In 360 constituencies.
Exactly, and then there will still be public hearings even at the state level, because the state houses of assembly also need to be aware of what's going on. They also need to let their constituencies know what's going on. So how, again, do you involve people?
Well, you see, if you say that they want to do consultation, they go to their constituency, that can still be manipulated. Whereas if it were to be a referendum.
So now you're hitting the nail on the head. It's the fear of manipulation. Is that what you're afraid of?
Well, I'm saying that will also be the reason why I'm just telling you about the difference between referendum and this constituency consultation. If you are talking of constituency consultation, the process is going to be driven by that member of the National Assembly, the senator or the House of Representative member. It's going to be driven. But if it is a referendum, the process is going to be driven by an entirely independent organization. So that is the difference between the two.